What's up, Algebra 1? Today we introduced the idea of power rules from middle school. I just wanted to review those with you today. So we talked about several of them. First of all, we talked about anytime you have 0 as a power, it gives you the number 1, not 0. That's what everybody thinks. Negative powers really represent how many times you're dividing. So for example, 3 squared is 9, but 3 to the negative 2 is 1 over 9 because you're technically dividing by 3 squared. For this one, 3 times x to the negative 4, that really tells you that x is really to the positive 4, but it's in the denominator. 3 is not got a negative power on it, so it does not move at all. Okay. So when two variables are multiplying, you really add their powers. X to the 4th times x to the 5th. X to the 5th is x to the 9th. But if you see other coefficients, make sure that you do, in fact, multiply those together. These are rules for exponents, not coefficients. Power rule. When you're putting a power on a power, this is when you would multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? But again, make sure that if you are applying a power on a coefficient, that you treat those the way you always have and you make them an actual exponent. And when you're dividing, it really means you subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2, because really when you're dividing, you're canceling out all the ones that are the same. So 4 of those x's will divide evenly with 4 on the top, leaving those 2 on the bottom. Okay, so let's jump into a few to practice. I'm going to do about half of them with you, and I want you to try the other half. Okay. So the very first one, we want to know how to put 8 and 4 together. They're written against each other, which means you're going to multiply. So 8 times 4 is 32. And then these powers should add together because they're multiplying. Kind of a rule for exponents here. And that gives you m to the 12th. Nothing else you can really do there. So in a fraction, fractions mean division. And the rule for powers when you're dividing is you really subtract. So when we have n to the 3rd and n squared, these will subtract, and it gives you n to the 1 in the very top. Now, when you subtract 4 and 4, that gives you 0. So really, this is the only answer that you have. It's just n to the 1. Anything to the 0 power can be rewritten as 1. So basically, this is 1 over a to the negative 1 and b times c squared. When you're looking to see what's left over, you do have a negative power. So negative powers can kind of move. If they're already in the top of the fraction, they can move to the bottom to become positive. If they're already in the bottom as a negative, they can move up to become positive. So I'm kind of moving this one up to become positive as a power, a to the 1. So I'm going to say that this is a over b times c squared. So I want you to try number 4 independently. That one's all on you. Think about your power rules and what you should do. Now, when you put a power on a power, this is called powering a power. This is when you're going to multiply. This is 2 times negative 2, negative 4, and 3 times negative 2, negative 6. However, when you have exponents that are negative, you can rewrite them where their power is positive. So that would be b to the 6 and a to the 4. So they're basically going to flip sides and become positive when you do that. So I want you to try number 6, using what we just talked about with number 5, to see if that can be something that you attempt, and we can check your work tomorrow. Number 7 is probably the hardest one. We need to think about this particular parentheses first. That is 10 s to the 3rd t. But this has really got some work we're going to need to do. What is negative 2 to the 3rd power? So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 really is negative 8. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say ultimately that first parentheses is multiplying by negative 8. But it also has some more stuff. We're going to use that same power of power idea, and we're going to multiply. So that's really s to the 6 and t to the 6. So now we have some stuff together. I want you to multiply 10 and negative 8, put your value, and then I want you to put all the s's together and all the t's together for our final answer. I'll leave number 8 for you to try. I want you to simplify 24 over negative 8 and then think about what x squared over x to the 5th should come out to be. I also want to talk about number 9 tomorrow. I think number 9 is straightforward, but it can be tricky, so give that one a good thought. Think about it all the way through, maybe even test it with different values for a and a calculator. and we'll talk about that one tomorrow. Let's talk about number 10 though. This is 9 on top, divided by 1 essentially, so I still have a 9 there. But when I have a fraction, I want to make sure that I consider their powers with subtraction. 2 is the top power for x, 1 is the bottom power for x, and 2 minus 1 is positive 1, which basically means there's an extra x in the very top of the fraction. When I consider y to the third and y to the fifth, if I was to subtract 3 minus 5, you get negative 2. But that's trying to tell you where the extra y values are. If you look at the very beginning, y to the third and y to the fifth, there are 2 more in the denominator, and that's what this represents. It represents that there are 2 more y values in the denominator. So thank you for watching the video. Real quick homework assignment here, 1 through 10. If you really want extra practice, especially if you took some zeros on all the work that I assigned yesterday, please log into iExcel and try V1 and then 4 through 7. Okay? These will really help you cement the rules that I'm trying to teach you. Thank you so much and have a good night.